Welcome to another episode of the Venture Capital Podcast. We are super pumped to have Tim and Peter joining us today for a lively discussion of everything to do with content creators, investments, startups, AI, how that's impacting everything. So excited to dive in.
So pumped to be here, guys.
Thanks for joining us.
And set the standard. It's going to have to be lively. So Peter Hollens, you got to bring the heat, man. Right off the bat.
Let's go.
He is a world-class vocalist, so you do expect a little singing.
All right. Well, first off, let's get more deeper into the intro. So both Peter and Tim, you guys invest together, right?
Yeah, that's right. Space Station Investments, we're an angel group. Now we're actually raising a fund, as it turns out right now, but that invests in a lot of early-stage consumer companies. And Peter Hollens, I'm trying to remember how we connected, Peter. Maybe you remember. I should probably. But at the end of the day, Peter Hollens is one of our most prolific and great investors, partners, counselors. And so, yeah, we work together a lot.
Yeah. When I was preparing for this episode, I was asking ChatGPT who the top 10 people were. And 80% of the time, Peter was listed. You have Jay-Z and Peter Hollens. Jay-Z, Peter Hollens.
Right up in there.
The Chamberlain sisters, Peter Hollens.
Right. Of course. Absolutely.
No, I'm serious. I got the screenshots. We can add it in the show notes if people don't believe me.
Love that.
I'll take it. Let's go.
Okay. Well, first let's talk about AI's impact on creators and influence, and how is that changing the economy? Is it affecting what you guys are doing?
I think that's all Peter. So you guys should know, like, Peter Hollens is a world-class vocalist turned influencer creator, because he posts incredible videos and music on the internet for many years. But what's unique about Peter that I'll say, because he may not brag as much or at least give the full story. Peter Hollens is one of the best, I think, creator business minds out there. He just thinks like an investor, a founder, an entrepreneur, and happens to also be an incredible vocalist, and puts that on YouTube. So you should kind of know. And what's crazy about Peter Hollens, and I found this out, I kind of knew this, like we're buddies, but Peter is like, if you want to just get a hint of what AI is doing and has been doing, he is the guy. Like, you wouldn't probably put him in the box of like, oh yeah, he's also like this AI maverick. He actually is. We have a conference that we co-own with Daryl Eves and MrBeast called Vid Summit every year. Peter's hosted with us. He's moderated, and he moderated a panel on AI and brought in some of the top AI kind of thought leaders on YouTube, creators. So there's my intro of Peter Hollens. He's definitely qualified to talk about AI and creators.
I will send you your check later.
No, you know where to send it.
Very complimentary. To go back to your question, John, I mean, it's a very in-depth question that we could talk about for hours. I think in general, it's imperative for all creators to be at the forefront of AI, and I think they are in terms of the general population. I would say creators are always at the forefront of innovation, and I would say innovation and AI is synonymous right now. Most creatives are utilizing AI to up their productivity and streamline in pre-production and post-production. In terms of the direction you'd want to head that question in, I'd be more than happy to get additional context in where you were hoping to go.
I think Peter, I think, wants to go down the voice cloning deepfake arena and how that's affecting creators.
No, but I am curious. So, yeah, everybody's using it to speed up production, but doesn't that create just a ton more content, noise, et cetera? And I'm wondering if, established content creators like yourself, probably, you have an established audience. Maybe AI is not as big of a challenge. Maybe it is. I don't know. But you also have a lot of new content creators popping up, and my bet is that it's just really hard for them to start getting attention, building an audience. I think a lot about, does attention become, exponentially more valuable over time as we just get flooded with more and more content? coming our way that's all AI generated, right? So like those are some of the like topics I'm trying to think through, and would love your perspective on what you're seeing kind of on the
Sure.
front
Yeah,
line.
there were multiple subjects in there.
Lot to
First and
unpack. Sorry.
yeah. First and foremost, the parasocial relationship that myself and my peers have established is infinitely more valuable as the entirety of the internet gets saturated with non-human content. I also think simultaneous to that, our ability to determine what is and isn't human is going to be harder and harder to associate with. And I do think the younger generation is going to get really used to it and be fine consuming just the majority of this content, whereas people who have been conditioned to create this parasocial relationship with people like myself and others are going to stay focused on those that they've already predetermined are real humans and they will associate with. Um, I myself have absolutely played around with every toy you can possibly think of when it comes to uh, uh, Udio and Suno, 11 Labs, and not only on the music side, but also on creating iterations of my voice to do any number of things. Even on the parent side, trying to help my young autistic child, help him with rules and learning things subconsciously because he does not like learning it consciously from his current class of neurospiciness. So I use it for everything. I get a kick out of staying at the forefront of it. So depending upon um, which convo you want, I think the value of the brands in which digital influencers have created will become extraordinarily valuable. I think anyone wanting to start a company now, if they don't start it with, I would say, a creator, you are doing yourself an incredible disservice. We are the lowest CAC you can possibly have and the highest return on investment. Whether or not you look at us as just somebody you put on your cap table and hope we talk about when we have inventory, or if you get somebody who is slightly more entrepreneurial minded and you have us as like a fractional CMO, there's extraordinary creators out there that are truly just entrepreneurs who have content be their first priority. Um, so I'm excited to talk about any aspect of this, Peter. So you tell me which way you want to go because you're like here's a T-ball. I'm like, well, I could talk for 2 hours, so you should interject.
What were you thinking, Peter?
Well, I guess the first question, right, is with all the content that's coming out from like powered by AI, what does that do to influencers over time, right? And content creators that exist today and have an audience, and those that are building, right? Because there are some people that I talk to that are like, AI is basically going to disrupt all content creators, and we'll just have a bunch of AI bots, creating content, pushing it out there. And so, and then you've got other people that make the argument that are like, no, like the content creators that are out there that are established today that are real human beings, they have real loyalty, real audience, and they have people's attention, and that attention is going to become more and more valuable over time. And frankly, like we're going to look towards people like yourself, Peter, that can speak with authenticity to whatever it is that they're supporting and promoting versus an AI driven thing. So I'm just curious, like, which side of that debate you come out on, and why. Maybe because I think that sets up the rest of the conversation for the podcast, because the rest of it we want to spend on, what are the best ways, or how do you think about making investments? What are the best ways to engage with a content creator if you are a founder, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, I definitely don't see it as black and white. I think different segments of the population, like I tried to allude to earlier, will fall into different traps. And I think similarly to the way we've seen the music industry head, you'll have people that really head back towards vinyl, and then you have people that will immediately just grab onto the thing that is the easiest and the fastest to get the dopamine hit. And I think we'll see that segmentation of the population, and it'll be quintessential for each and every single entrepreneur to like really understand who their ICP is and then to dig deep into the answer of that question, because I think it will be extraordinarily multifaceted. I will once again trump the extraordinarily biased concept that that like our pre-established parasocial relationships are going to be extraordinarily valuable. And yes, the market will be flooded. Everything digital will be flooded with AI created content. Um, but I don't necessarily think that's going to be a black and white setup like your question was. So,
Sure.
yeah.
All right. So TBD a little bit. Well, and a lot of gray area, which is fair.
Are you guys seeing brands requesting to partner with digital creators instead of like a real creator like Peter?
Yeah, I mean, on our side, here at the space station, we have our investment group, but we also have an influencer marketing agency, and we do a lot of work with brands, connecting them with great creators. And I mean, there's been some hints of that, but I just don't think there's been enough like pure digital creators that are yet kind of enough in the forefront where they've got the value that a brand would kind of attach to. I think to Peter's point, companies can and should be using and leveraging AI in so many different ways. And on the content creation side or partnering with creators, today it's still very much human creators. Will that change in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years? Absolutely. It's very challenging to know exactly what that looks like.
Okay.
You-
How are
You're
you
seeing
guys? What?
I was just gonna say,
Go
you're
ahead.
seeing an extraordinary acceleration and growth within AI content on short form content,
Yeah.
and I think it will like oversaturate that incredibly fast. Whereas long form content has a need to connect, um, and thus far, I don't think we're anywhere near charisma being one of the things that artificial intelligence will be able to do better than humans. It will maybe happen, just to get people ready for it, which is one of the reasons why I really try to uh, push the reframe of artificial intelligence truly being collective intelligence, being us, in order to get creative buy-in, because everybody's so scared of it, so scared of it. I did a commencement speech last Saturday, and I was asked to come and speak about AI, and I got booed off stage. And I
Are
was
you kidding?
so purposeful in trying to do it in the most
Wow.
delicate way. I'm not joking. People standing up and being like, "Get the off!" Like,
What?
oh,
Where
it
was
was
this at?
Gosh,
Wow.
that's
it
insane.
was at a name to be not talked about
Yeah.
community college, and I've given a
Wow.
commencement speech at the University of Oregon, and it was like really well received. And this was a lived nightmare, and I still actually truly have PTSD from it. And the one thing that I know, this is a little bit of a to the side, but like the true chasm, the chasm between the people who are bought in and know where we're going and know the dystopian nature of this like segment we're going to have to get through to get to the era of abundance and utopia that I pray we get to. Um, the chasm between the people who aren't willing or aren't interested or aren't even wanting to talk about it, you can't even bridge that conversation. I lived through what happens if you try to just tell people that they have this superpower and that they should really try to start tinkering and playing with it
Wow.
because it'll yield such positive results. It was a
That's wild.
massacre. I was like, I
Wow.
lost them by about 5 minutes in, and by like minute 19, like it was just like,
I'm done. Let's
I'm
go.
gonna
Stop talking.
get security and leave now.
Wow.
Um,
That's
So
wild.
I'm curious, was it just yeah, I mean, were you just kinda like, "AI is the future and you need to embrace it," and they were like, "Absolutely not, this is terrifying?"
I truly tried to utilize as many metaphors and analogies that were
Yeah.
like soft as possible, especially providing the initial context of, hey, you have this CEO saying this is just Grammarly on steroids, and then this other CEO saying the exact opposite, that we might have 40% unemployment within the next 10 years. And so, therefore, no one truly knows where we're going, even the people creating this. So, I really implore you to dig in, because,
Ugh.
truthfully, the intellect between an ant and a human is now going to be the difference between the human and what we're about to create. And so, I implore you to just start playing around with this. It's actually pretty fun if you get over your fear. I'm fearful, which is why I'm digging in, and that's why I want you to as well. Did not go over well. Did not want to hear it. I tried so deeply to connect. I was very vulnerable, and it was so scary, so
Yeah.
That
scary,
is crazy.
petrifying. Anyway,
Wow.
I digress.
Wow.
But
That's rough.
I think it is important, right? I mean, it's just such a huge impact on yeah, so many aspects of life, particularly in anything digital,
Well,
right?
and Peter pushes us, on the investment side, and our investment team pushes us to really employ, modern tools, these tools that he's been exploring and looking at well ahead of us, in our kind of daily, assessment of companies and figuring things out. And one example, as we kind of go back to this convo of like long form versus short form and other things, like here we are on a podcast that will live on, where podcasts are listened to, but also on YouTube, right? I mean, we're seeing so much of this with the election. We saw long form podcasting being like such a key piece. We will take everything we get from a founder, basically like the whole data room, and we'll do like a recorded video call like this, and we'll throw that into kind of into some AI tools, and then say spit out a 30-minute podcast about this company and ask intelligent questions like an investor's perspective. And so then literally these two AI bots just start talking and
Notebook
spitting out a
LM.
podcast. That's right,
Yeah,
Notebook.
Notebook LM. So it's an
As you
awesome
guys
tool.
know, but what's interesting though, to Peter's point about charisma, like I like that format. I enjoy that kind of a format. I like to consume things that way, but it's not 100% there, and I don't need it to be for what we're doing. I don't need it to be just super, personal and engaging. It's pretty dang good though, but it doesn't have to be 100% there. It's just it's the format that works for me. And I think that I don't know. I think that the human kind of connection, charisma, experience will actually start to become a real premium in a world where we're flooded with AI content, and that's exciting to me. Like the premium experience of like true human interaction will really start to shine for those that are world class podcasters, creators, which is going to be great. I think a great future.
It seems to me too like there will be a lot of value in curation,
Yeah.
Oh,
right?
100%.
Yep.
Yes,
More
that
than
is
ever.
correct. Yeah.
And it's like I experienced this, not an AI experienced this, and I can like share that with you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. No,
Especially if
I
you're
love the
10x
idea
on
of
the content volume. If you're 10x the volume, 100x the volume of content, curation will be the key. Sorry, Peter, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think curators will become creators, and also
Yeah.
the conversation that we could absolutely dive into regarding creators versus influencers. There's such a better
Sure.
nuanced reframe. Even like I would like to call myself an artist now because I think there's so
Mm.
many negative connotations wrapped around
Yeah.
well, especially influencers to me specifically, but even creators, I think
Yeah.
at large are getting raked to the coals because of it's just been around long
Yeah.
enough to be like, well,
Yeah.
actually, I'm an artist, okay? I make music. I would like to reframe that even in my own subconscious, so that like
Yeah.
when I make my art, it's not just like here's a container and I put my video inside it, but really the thing that's inside that is just the music, and that's the thing I'm really trying to make and put out into the world. And just because it's in a video doesn't mean that that's the only thing I am. And I think that's helpful. Anyway, um, yeah.
Super helpful. How are you guys choosing to engage with startups and founders? Are you looking at
Yeah.
the product? Are you looking at the founder, the space?
I mean, for us, like it's always, as you guys know, like in the VC world, it's kind of an art and science. And I think the art side of it is, for us, first and foremost, founding team. There's just I don't know, some kind of real nuanced, interesting feel, of what a world class founder feels like. And now, kind of fast forward, we've been investing for about 5 years. We're 112 companies in. We've been able to now work with a number of world class founders, and we know what that looks like and feels like. That's like our top kind of first top of the funnel. We just have to really feel like they are the type of founder who can build something great, who can take advice, but can really set a direction and a course. And by the way, personalities are all across the board. So it's not a personality thing. Although, yeah, I mean, you want to work with and invest in founders that you get along with. but it's really kind of what's a world-class founder look like? That's number one. Number two, the product itself, the product, the service, the setup. Like, can we get excited and be proud of it? Do we like it? Do we consume it? Do we want to engage with it? And then third is just the progress. Is where are they at in their life cycle? What's kind of current revenue, current kind of product margins, all these types of things. So, it's we just did an analysis, and over the last 12 months, we've looked at about 1,200 companies. So about 100 a month, and obviously we're not investing in 100 a month or even a fraction of that. And so, it really is an important piece of what we do is to try to sift through and get the cream to rise to the top.
Is there a deal that you both are in that maybe illustrates some of these points that we could talk about?
Man, Peter is one of our most prolific investors. I was just actually trying to pull up a list of like all of your kind of deals, Peter. I'm trying to think through. I mean,
Are
almost
they
any
stand
of
out
these.
to you, Peter?
I,
That
I
you're
mean,
like super pumped
I
about?
feel like given the you know, given the talk here, I mean, are we allowed to talk about uh
Throw
Yes.
it out
You
there.
can
We
just
can
say
bleep
yes.
it out.
you
What are we allowed to
decide
talk
later. We
about?
can just edit it
I
out.
mean, I mean, there's like one specific creator that's
Yeah.
always on everybody's mind,
Yeah.
and I wrote probably
Yeah.
my biggest check in quite a long time
Yeah.
because I believe in Jimmy and what he's been able to accomplish, and I've seen him firsthand uh, do incredible things, and I was like, "Well, I want to invest in this. Like, I believe in this guy. Every single child that walks in my house thinks this guy walks on air. And I think to our earlier conversations, I mean, what an incredible, unique value proposition and moat that he truly has to build whatever he wants. And the fact that he absolutely, within like a few short years, created something that I think eventually could take out Hershey's. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. What else are we gonna do? Like, yes, please. I will buy into that Jimmy ETF. And so that's like one example I would bring up. And maybe I'm biased because I consider him like in my sphere, in my ilk, but like the unique
Yeah.
value proposition of what he's established will live on for decades in the minds of these children, no matter what. Even if all the socials ran to the side and just disappeared because of whatever cluster that might happen at some point, later on he could build just about anything he wants.
And they are, Beast. So yeah, we invest in Beast Industries whenever this comes out. That's fine to say, and it's become now public. So we tried to keep it under wraps, but it, the fact that he's raising some capital right now for Beast Industries is now a thing. And so we were able to kind of syndicate, put a check together, and as you look at that process that we just outlined, kind of founding team, product, progress, you look at Jimmy and you think, to what Peter just said, he really is kind of a maverick, kind of, the tip of the spear for what we're calling this new creator economy, which is quite nebulous, very big, very exciting. I think most don't understand it. I think somebody like Peter understands it more than anybody. But Jimmy is kind of plowing the way forward. But when you go under the covers, you realize it's not just Jimmy. In fact, it can't be. This is a 400-person team now led by a very professional CEO, Jeff Hausenbold, and building out a really sophisticated multi-billion-dollar enterprise that has grips in the YouTube, Amazon, especially Beast Games content side. They have a whole CPG portfolio, Feastables being the lead of that. Feastables, I can't share numbers. I mean, is
I can share numbers. The numbers are they're raising 200 million out of 5 billion valuation.
Yeah, that's the ballpark. Yeah, but even just like Feastables itself, the power and the movement of that CPG company by itself is just quite fascinating. Lunchly, but then they have a whole portfolio. It's public that they own ViewStats, which is kind of like YouTubers like go-to software, and a handful of other things that are in the mix. And that's a great use case of showing both, founding team, product. They actually are creating what I think are going to be, some of the best products, whether you're super pumped on the chocolate or not. The fact that they're actually have a mission to minimize and eliminate, well, in their case, eliminate things like Jimmy's talked publicly about like, child labor in the US chocolate supply chain. It was really what started Feastables. Like, this is insanity. And so that type of like altruistic change, kind of the status quo type thing. It's a great use case. And of course, to Peter's early point, if you caught it, CAC, which is customer acquisition cost, near zero. That is the future, is being able to
he works
to
in
do
he
that.
works in a pitch to Feastables in the most integrated way every video now. Like,
Every
okay,
video.
so this last one, yes, I'm an investor of Beast
Yeah, that's
Industries,
right.
but this last video of his I watched, and I don't watch all of his videos, I don't have time, right? But where
Yep.
he puts an individual in a gym and lets him stay there for like I don't know, almost like
It was
6.5 months
it was a year to lose 100 pounds.
and I'm sitting there like getting super teary-eyed and emotional, but like
Yeah.
he worked in a pitch to Feastables even after the actual inventory integration of Shopify, where I'm sure he got a really great check there.
Yeah.
But in such an honest way, right? There was like a moment where he sits down and he eats his Feastable and he's all excited because it's like the
Yep.
one cheat he gets. And I'm like,
Yep.
what a beautifully integrated way that
Yeah.
doesn't feel like it's selling. It comes in an honest way. I'm just like,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
What
That's a good
other
use
ways
case.
can we work in more CPG here? Let's go.
Exactly. That's right.
You know,
Yeah, but there's other
it's
examples.
interesting
Yeah,
talking
go ahead.
about CAC. So I recently did
Yeah.
an analysis on Haley Bieber's company that she just
Yeah.
sold.
Yeah, that's right.
And so she was posting like 40% gross margins, or not gross margins, profit margins on the business, which for that type of business typically is closer to like 15% at scale, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And the point was like she was getting $400 million of earned media every single year.
That's it.
Wow.
Which is nuts. Like, and that's what everybody else would have to spend.
That's right.
To keep it. And so that's why she had really good really good profit margins, really fast growth.
So you can add in those kind of scenarios, you can add 20 to 30 points of margin, which is insanity, simply because the CAC is near zero. Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, I mean, it translated to like $85 million of EBITDA.
Which maybe
crazy.
if she were to be doing a brand deal for a very similar company that wasn't hers, maybe she wouldn't be valued that high.
Sure.
But this comes into like this is like kind of Jimmy's style, right? Which is like true integration, like actually deep integration with a brand that you own and build. Although we've seen a lot of these kind of creator influencer deals where they're kind of owning a brand, and in reality they have a piece of it, but it's really not. They're not kind of core to it, and they kind of walked into it. We see kind of a whole broad spectrum of minimal ownership, talk about it quite a bit, to actually sitting at the table, back of the napkin, I'm going to build something and own 100% of it. And you get to benefit on the business side depending on how deep you go and how hard you're able to push.
So I have this philosophy or this theory that part of the reason why she was able to build that brand so big in such a short time period was because it was basically her company, right? She probably owned like 2/3 of it, self-funded it, so forth. And that was like a huge differentiator. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think, somebody if she had just put her name on it, it also could have been as successful? And what does that mean for our founders and entrepreneurs? Because I think there's a lot of founders that go to people like Peter and they're like, hey, we'll do all the work, you put your face on it, right? And how do you guys think about that versus, like Jimmy's like, no, like this is my company.
This is mine, yeah.
Right? Like I'm 100% behind this thing, right?
I think that's why it's so incredibly important to make sure you have not only, I guess, the same way that we always talk about like founder fit, but creator fit. They need to authentically, truly feel like this is something that they can get behind. That's like part of what they already have in like their life, and so it's something that when they have time and they have the inventory, they will push themselves. They're like, well, I don't have like some 6-figure deal to do this week, so I'm just going to push this thing that I love, that I have ownership in. And I think that's important on a per creator, per team base. So like, do you think that this person truly will have an authentic buy-in, or that cares deeply? Do they still have the entrepreneur spirit, or are they in a different part of their life? Many creators are still focused on fame, money, sex. And I think you
Mhm.
kind of have to try to find people who have bypassed this unfortunate subconscious thing that society pushes on people, and they get to a second place in their life, which is like, why do I have consciousness? Why am I here? What do I want to be part of? What is my legacy? And I think that identification is extraordinarily important when you have founders who are looking to either co-found with someone or bring someone in as a large equity partner. Also, I think that there is lots of ways in which you can create beautiful, innovative hybrid deals where it's like,
Yeah.
my hope by bringing you in is to get X amount of distribution across this many platforms, and if you could do that on this type of a quantity per quarter, then I will give you this type of an earnout. I mean, there's so many different ways in which we could have this conversation. I think we've definitely bypassed, I hope by now, that just the transactional, like, one off
Yeah.
of like, you give me X amount of money and I'll give you this one post. I don't think that's good for anyone anymore. I think there needs to be either
Yeah.
partnerships that are multiple year long, or equity deals that I mostly like. For creators, you can't like install like a cliff if you're doing distribution. So it
Yeah.
kind of needs to start right away. But there are beautiful companies being created out there, like Ohm, which is one of the ones on my portfolio that I
Yep.
actually brought to
You did. I was
Space
gonna mention
Station.
Yep, you're right.
Yeah, that Jeffrey Fromer is kicking butt on. That actually is like a Carta meets this type of a deal for creators, where it's intricately woven into the concept of where we need to go. Because pretty soon, if everybody blinks a little bit too long, we're going to get to the point where all creators are going to be like, I'm not doing anything for you. I'm building my own companies. Because just like obviously Jimmy knows by now, why would I do a deal with anyone else when I can do a deal with myself, right? I mean, it's the same type of thing. You guys have a podcast, right? How often, I mean, are you guys pushing anything yourself yet? I mean, it kind of would behoove you to do so if you have a
Yeah.
legitimate listener base, right? Like, do you have your own rolling fund? Do you have, I mean, like,
Yeah.
let's be
That's
real. If you're an entrepreneur, I'm an entrepreneur. Let's like think about obviously where this is heading, especially as we talked about earlier, where distribution will be absolutely key as things become less and less human. So, yeah.
yeah, agreed.
How are you looking at structuring these deals? So instead of just like the one off, what's the best way for creators and or VCs
Mhm.
to partner?
Well, I mean, it's extraordinarily malleable as far as
Yeah.
with VCs. I mean, creator in residence are still a thing. I think they truly should be an actual creator. But you'd have
Yeah.
to ask that a question a different way, I think.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, what we see right now is, creators investing in these deals as investors. They put in real cash. They sit on the cap table like anyone else, and they need to be excited about that setup as it is right now. By the way, this is like almost like pre-ohm, right? Where we talked about having a very straightforward, simple way to award equity to strategics for outputs. Pre-ohm, that's we think that's the best way to structure in the short term, simply because being able to really figure out and negotiate, kind of to Peter's point, what does it mean to push and post, and how much is that worth in equity? Those deals are challenging to do today. And when it works, and when it doesn't, it's ugly and weird. And so we've been in the discipline of just invest like an investor, and then we will work with the brand in a very bespoke way, a very custom way, to make sure that there's some great value exchanged between this new investor creator and the founder. That's how
Can
it's
we get more
structured today.
concrete? That sounds very ethereal.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you've got a creator who, Aura Ring, cuts a 50K check into Aura Ring in a growth round. So they cut a check, literally wire, invest with us through our syndicate. They're in the deal. In the case of Aura Ring, it was like 6-8 months later, through our efforts in working with the company, that they said, you know what, yeah, we really should be working with some of these influencers, creators, um, not just ours that we brought into the round, but just in general. We need to kind of turn that on. Now we happen to have an influencer agency here internally, and so we engaged and said, all right, let's start working to find those who authentically connect with Aura Ring and who can really do some great work and really, get excited about the brand. Most of which, in fact, all of which, at least in our case, already were Aura kind of users, wearers, right? And so they already had rings, they were already rocking them, and so then we just engage with these marketing heads and really work out what end up being brand deals in a very authentic way more authentic because these are now investors. They actually have skin in the game, which is exciting. And because a creator has put in a check, doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to do a ton of work for free. They shouldn't. This is their business, right? This is kind of how they operate. And so, but as an investor creator, they're giving a lot better deal, more love, more help, more insight, more time, more effort. So that's what we see, and it could be that they end up earning that equity back, or the check that they cut in kind of brand deal work, which essentially now we keep coming back to Ohm. That is what Ohm does without having to have the invest a check and then get the check back 8 months later. Ohm will just kind of do that all on the fly in real time, and so we effectively get to that, John, to your question. This case, it was like literally like a 12-month process for essentially creators to invest with their influence.
Also, John, to think about like how complicated this gets, because the antiquated entertainment world doesn't necessarily reward agents and managers for doing direct deals with creators on equity. So it
Yeah.
is extraordinarily cumbersome to do the thing that actually is innovative and leaned in forward, because you have so many barriers to do so. But it is absolutely where we're heading, like without a doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you can start getting to blockchain and tokenizing things where, you can really make it a way more straightforward on-chain transaction for someone with influence, a strategic of any kind. It could be a founder of another company. It could be, it doesn't have to necessarily be somebody who has an audience, but strategically adds value to a company where as a founder, you can appropriately award equity above board, SEC thumbs up, um, for influence, for strategic value and help. Uh, and then of course all of the tax implications and the preference stack and all that. So it is complex to merge VC with creators today. Cool tools are helping us get closer to it, we think.
Can we go through a math equation?
Bring on the math, man.
Hypothetically. So, Peter Hollens, you've done investments through various avenues. Both of you have. Let's just say we've got a startup, B2C. It's doing $1 million in revenue right now.
Yeah.
Is that too early?
No.
And or how would you look at structuring that deal? It sounds like you guys would invest cash first and then try to earn your cash back over the course of 12 months.
Yeah, let's look actually at a really kind of concrete case that's along that same kind of math lines, right? So Painterland Sisters, we talked about this before as we're starting up. Icelandic yogurt, incredible brand of just great yogurt. These are two sisters in Pennsylvania on a fourth generation family farm who essentially went off to school, grew up on the farm, went off to school, came back to build a company to help save the farm, really, with these organic dairy cows. They built this incredible product. We came across Painterland Sisters when they were kind of in that revenue range. And so the way that we would look at this kind of a deal is, obviously in revenue, something's clicking, right? Is $1 million, is it 100 grand? Is it 5 million? Like, that's nuanced. We've invested in, barely into 6 figures of revenue and well into 7 figures or more, 8 figures. In this case, there's obviously some revenue there. So let's go through our checklist of, are the founders the right people? Peter Harris was able to meet them. Incredible ladies, and truly sharp as they come. Very driven, capable. Got it. They checked that box. Product, incredible. Go try it out. It's amazing.
It's delicious. So good.
It's great. It's the best. And then, but the third is like on the progress side. So what we would do, John, is we would look at it. We run our diligence, say, all right, they're in revenue. How would we value this? Is the entry point the right entry point for us, right? And so we start to talk about valuation. We start to talk about, like, if they're doing $1 million in revenue, a CPG company, early stage like that, it's hard to peg a revenue against, or a valuation against revenue, of course, in those early stages. Pre-seed, seed rounds, it's fuzzy math when it comes to pegging the valuation. So they're going to come with we hope pre or sub 20 million revenue in that case. Or excuse me, I'm struggling here, guys. $20 million valuation or less. and that was the case for us in this round of Painterland. That's where you want to be in these kind of pre-seed, seed stage rounds. Seed stage, you start getting into like, all right, they're generating 3-4 million. You put a 5 to 8x multiple on top line revenue to kind of get roughly in the ballpark of where they need to be and you try to peg it against kind of real time numbers versus 2021. It was like, next year we're going to be doing 15 million in revenue. Let's put a 5x on that. It's like, okay, we're past that. We're back to hopefully some kind of normal valuations. We'll do that math, and then if that box is checked on the valuation side, we feel pretty good about the entry point. Which, by the way, we try not to get too caught up. We just got to check the box. We're never going to be perfect on the entry point. We're just trying to get as early as we can and get as much capital in as early as possible. Then we negotiate, like, yep, we'd like to join the round. We, Space Station, we're very much considered strategic investors. So we're not leading the round. We're not filling the round. We're typically coming in at the very kind of last check-in, where they're giving us an allocation, and we work to fill that with our group of investors that join us. And we try really hard to bring in great creator investors, people that have audience, Peter, pro athletes, Olympians, bloggers, bring them into this round. And in this case with Painterland, as we were talking before, they actually had a little bit of a hit list. We said, give us a hit list. Who'd you like to have in this? And we were able to actually knock down a few on that list, which is exciting for them.
It's awesome.
Super exciting, super beneficial.
Yeah.
Peter Harris, as UGF or other VCs are looking at deals, does having an influencer player creator play, if it's not there, is that a red flag?
I mean, it depends on the company, right? But if
Yeah.
it's consumer oriented or like there's a reason to have it, I think it's important. I will say though that we've looked at a lot of deals over the years, as I'm sure Tim has, where there is an influencer or content creator, whatever part of it. And like that doesn't suddenly make it a like done deal. Like
So
not
true.
even close. I mean,
So
we've passed
true.
on a lot of deals like
It
that.
could be a red
So,
flag, honestly.
Yeah.
Not the fact that they have some kind of creator attached, but who and why.
Yep.
To Peter Hollens' earlier point, like the authentic connection, if it's not there,
Yep.
it's actually worse.
And sometimes
Worse
there's like
off.
risk. I don't know if
Yeah.
we want to talk about that, but
Yeah.
you bring
You're
on the
one
wrong
scandal away
person and
from just destruction.
they get in trouble, and all of a sudden that what used to be a positive is suddenly a huge negative, right? I think we've all seen examples of
Yeah.
that. So,
That's valid.
and conversely, we're investors in one of our consumer products companies. Actually, several of our consumer products companies don't have any sort of influencer, celebrity, or whatever, and have done very well. They still work with influencers and celebrities and content creators, but they're not tied to any single one, and they've done that very successfully. So specifically, I'm thinking of Kopari, which is they're crushing it right now in the skincare and sunscreen market. And then on the other end of the spectrum, we were investors in a company called Privé Revaux, which was sunglasses that was started by a bunch of celebrities and did very well because they were able to they gave sunglasses out to all their friends. And so you'd see like J-Lo walking down the street and everyone's taking pictures of her, Ashton Kutcher, or whoever it was at the red carpet. So I don't know. I think, I don't know if it's a slam dunk. I don't know if it's necessarily a negative. It always piques my interest to dig in more on how involved they are and how authentic the fit is, to Tim's point. But
I think one thing, that Peter Hollens talks about often to us and helps us understand, and that he has other projects kind of working on this. It's one thing to have, someone with influence attached to your brand or some group or working with some agency and doing some influencer marketing work. That's great. When it's great. It's another thing to really kind of partner with creators and influencers to figure out how to talk to humans, like to figure out. That's one thing creators do so well that I think that most business kind of founders and people just don't appreciate. They really don't. They don't understand the nuanced magic that these creators have learned in communicating to their specific audience. It is challenging to figure that out. They obsess about it. They know how to do it. They have metrics around it. They literally live in the DMs talking to their people. They know. And so if you can hire and work with a creator, whether it's a partnership, it's equity or not, where they can guide you into how to message your product, your brand, again, in the consumer space, I just think there's way more than just, hey, talk to your audience and let's see if we can get some sales done. That's great. But I think there's more to it.
That's
Peter
one of the
Hollens,
reasons
is
why I
that right
created
or
a
not?
company
Am I off?
called In-House Creators.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
true.
I
Yeah.
mean, everything from go-to-market to community management to like actual, you know, social media. Pretty
Yeah.
much most creators have the capacity and the understanding and the ability to do so, more so, and a bias again, than like any corp person you're going to grab from an Amazon or a whatever. I'm like, I'm sorry, I built multiple 7-figure companies out of scratch doing dorky acapella music, and I established numerous different types of relationships and then monetized them across any number of things. The the extraordinary like combination that creators have now, if they're truly able to still stay on their game, of being able to be simultaneously the on-screen talent and an analysis, somebody that does senior analysis. What am I trying to say, Peter Hollens? Analysis.
Analyst?
Analyst.
I
Hey,
got you, man.
I
I got
really
you.
should have read more as a child.
You sang a lot, which is great. That's
Yeah.
what we want.
Anyway, we're extraordinarily multifaceted, and you won't succeed unless you truly are. I mean, you could
Yeah.
have a one-off like viral sensation, but you're going to fall off, right? You won't truly be able to create a career or any type of real, legitimate relationship with your audience.
Yeah, I love this idea because I think so many times founders and VCs, myself, right, included, look at these influencers, content creators, and just say, "Oh, well, we're gonna leverage them for the audience,"
Yeah.
and not realize, like, hey, maybe we should take this individual who is clearly extremely successful at communicating with people and building businesses and have them help us with actual strategic decisions. Yeah, I think it's really
And
smart.
the interesting thing I'd want to also just put into the back of your mind is like, now that we are truly entering in the second and third innings of the creator economy, you have people who have done the thing, right? We've done the thing, but it's like, well, what are they going to do after? And they've established a wealth of learnings. You have people that want to do something else, right?
Yeah.
Like I did the thing for 13 years. It's really a tiring profession, right?
Sure.
And now what? And I feel like that was one of the reasons why I created one of my companies, In-House Creators, to like fundamentally place my peers in positions to allow them to have that experience. And because there is an extraordinary need at all these companies to fundamentally solve innovators' dilemma, which you can hypothetically almost change the wording and call it like the AI dilemma. Like, what are you going to do? Well, maybe you should bring in a creator who's been living and breathing that exact thing for the past 2 decades. And yeah, it's not going to work for everyone. You might not want to go grab some 17-year-old TikToker off the streets or something, but it's more than just what a lot of these companies go to is like, well, I'm going to hire an intern out of college because they're young and of course they're like tinkering, so they're going to be perfect for this. I'm like, well, would you do that with your CFO?
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, it's just as important now, and you're not going to get it yet, but you're about to be godsmacked.
Yep.
And to that point, like not all, creatives are created equal, of course, right? And so it's like any other process with bringing someone onto your team, there just has to be a genuine fit. It's a team member. This is a team member that you're bringing on. They're going to have different strengths and excitements and weaknesses, and it's nuanced. We certainly can't put creators and the creator economy in just like a very defined bucket. It truly is quite a broad spectrum type of a setup, and that's why Peter's kind of expertise in working with a ton of kind of his peers to figure out who might fit where is an important kind of asset to have. You got to have some help in getting the right people in the right seats, and when
I'll
you
give you guys
fail, and you will, then
Well, I'll give you guys a cheat sheet for your audience. Like if
I
you're
love
looking
it.
for creators like this, if you go immediately to LinkedIn and that creator doesn't have their own LinkedIn, I would just immediately cross them out. I feel like once a creator starts putting time and energy into their LinkedIn, it's like they go, oh, I kind of get it. I should be paying attention over here. There's extraordinarily outsized value outside of just ad revenue and brand deals and the same normal P&L BS that most creators just focus on. But if they're looking at their opportunity to monetize outside of that, they're definitely going to be on LinkedIn because you have just extraordinary opportunity on there. And if they are, then it's like one of those check boxes. But also, I mean, like, you could also take in, and this is like, starts getting like, people start getting mad when you do black and white things, but you probably want to go for people who are a little bit older, because again, they fall into those early traps as an early adult. So anyway, maybe you weren't even looking for that type of a line of questioning, but I think that's a value add.
Yeah.
No, it's great. That's great.
Where do you think we're headed? What's happening in the next phase?
What do you think, Peter? What's inning 4 and 5 in kind of creator economy?
Could we call a phase like, hey, guess what the next phase is? It's just whenever OpenAI drops their new model, like phase. Or we can't even talk. Truthfully, like when people like have these conversations, they're like, well, what do you think's going to happen in 3 years? I'm like, shut up. What about the next phase of collective intelligence being presented towards you? And you're like, now you get to play with super intelligence. I'm like, yeah, that's the next phase. Like, wake up, people.
I think the next phase that scares me the most is just how freaking fast everything is happening.
It's wild.
It's just hard to keep up, right?
But
That's the part that scares
me. We can't. We will not be able to.
Yeah.
Like, we are going to fall behind, but you have to be comfortable in that, and you have to be comfortable in that uneasiness, but you also simultaneously need to create space in your schedule to start leaning in and learning, because the more you do, the more you start creeping up the 5%, 4%, 3%, 2%, and all of a sudden you're like in the 1% of the 1%. You're like 0.05 of like where we're going. And if you have that arbitrage is real, and that will allow you to build multi-million-dollar companies, because you'll be like, wait a second, I can literally think of that idea, bring my phone into the shower, which you shouldn't do. But anyway, you could, and you have your Replit app out, and you're like, and here's my concept. And then by the time your hair is dry, you now have your MVP, and it's done, right? Like, we can build so many things.
That's wild. That's
like nonstop. And if you aren't literally like spending your time as an entrepreneur, whether it's with like the iMovie version of it, like with Lovable, and creating something at least once a week, instead of wasting your time with whatever TV show or whatever movie you're supposed to, because you're unwinding, because, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. Like, just play around with it. It is fun. It is scary, but just freaking do it. Like, it's not even like a thing anymore. Like, get over yourself and like, don't spend your time doing anything else. Like, lean in. Sorry, I digress.
Agreed.
I mean, I'm excited for the next phase. That means even
we will. No booing him off the stage. Come on, guys.
Yeah. If the next phase has better Yeti and Sasquatch videos, I'm down for it.
That's it. Hey,
I don't know if you guys have seen those.
Incredible.
Oh my God, it's so fun.
Wild.
It is so fun. Like, literally 3 weeks ago, that was like the most. Okay, for instance, let's take that as an example, because I think this is great synergy. Mr. John, well done. If you had a creator on your team, on your cap table, whether it's a creator advisory board, like the type of things I put together for companies, they would have literally been like, stop what we're doing, go to market, shut up. What we're going to do actually is create our own iteration of the Bigfoot phenomena, talking about our product. And guess what? That CAC's going to be low as hell. And yes, you could spend like crazy on it because it is a viral sensation. But those type of moments are going to be happening over and over and over again. And if you had a creator, guess what they would have done? And guess how much money you would have made? And yes, that is worth whatever options or whatever pay or whatever salary or whatever relationship that is on like a 100x multiple. Like, get over yourself. Do you think some like old corporate person, because of their resume or where they went to school, is going to help you make money in the future? Like, shut up.
It actually is so true though. And I think it's like, it's not even just a matter of like, who's going to get ahead in this new world. It's going to be, how do you not get left behind? This is like 2010 and you're deciding like, I don't think we need a mobile app, or it's 2001 and I don't think I need a website for my company. It's like, but it's that times like 1,000, right? And so I couldn't agree. I can't articulate it with as much energy as Mr. Hollens, but that's.
I'm sorry. I get really excited,
I love it,
guys.
I love it. In the consumer space, like consumers are going to consume. In fact, more now than ever, when your car can drive it, when your car can drive you around, when your systems can build companies for you while you're sleeping. what are we now doing with all this time, right? And so, to the extent that like, for our group, we think that consumer will be as strong as ever, but attaching and working with these creators, human or digital, or AI, it's going to kind of blend. It's going to kind of blend. The reality is that Sasquatch is guided by and built by a human. It's the AI is the tool. And that is exciting to me. Like, that's exciting, is being able to have a tool where a guy like me who can barely draw a stick figure appropriately can create a Sasquatch video that can go viral and really have some fun with it, actually tell some stories, take that, move that into education, take that, move that into, teaching people, how to sing, how to invest, how to navigate relationships. Like, there's just wild
How important
opportunity.
VC is to your retirement.
That's exactly. So now you're talking my book. Thank you. All of our books. All of our books.
Oh, by the way, while we were having this podcast, I went and I connected with both Mr. PH, I love your initials,
I know.
and Mr. John on the LinkedIn, because, guys,
No.
come on, let's help each other out.
These guys are doing great work. Like, I love this format of the podcast. I came across I've known both of you guys. John and Peter happen to be sharing the same state with me here in Utah. I'm an Arizona boy, but moved up here, and it's just been such a blast to kind of see you take the time and energy. And Peter, by the way, Peter Harris, basically trained my right-hand guy, Jackson Stewart, and in such an incredible way at UGF. Honestly, like, Jackson is absolute baller and clutch. Peter knows him well.
He's so impressive. I love that kid.
Peter brought him into the light, man, in many ways, which is exciting.
Well done, Harris. Let's go.
One or the other.
We'll take it, man. And so it's like what you guys are doing in this world of helping teach all of us. I listen and learn from the podcast and your guests. It's just great work. Like, I sincerely appreciate what you guys do.
Well, we really appreciate having you guys on and sharing your perspective. And we're really excited about this new format that we're piloting, which is bring on some interesting experts, some interesting VCs, and go deep on, a topic that's relevant in the world of venture and entrepreneurship. So thank you guys for being some of the first and going deep and having a lively conversation with us.
Lively. That's all right.
My pleasure. Anytime I can help anyone build anything, it's so fun. It's like very addictive.
Yeah. And Peter's great at it. So hit him up.
Well, thank you guys so much. And make sure you go to www.vc.fm for this episode, and all of our socials will be there. And we'll have links to Peter and Tim as well. So also, just for legal reasons, this was not investment advice. We're not here selling securities. Right. We're there everyone's just talking about their investment.
That's it.
I will give you AI advice, though.
That's right.
Do
Appreciate you guys.
All right.
Thanks, Laura.